afternoon, students. I'm K.Radha from English Department, K.B.N College. To the third semester students, I'm going to now give a lecture on giving instructions and directions and an interview with J.R.D. Tata. Now this is the fourth unit I am discussing. Now, giving instructions and introductions is a very important function which we perform in our day-to-day conversations. Now, since this course is based on conversational practice, we have discussed in the previous units different functions of the language. Now, we are going to discuss another important aspect or another important function of conversational English. Now, giving instructions and directions, it has two parts. One is giving instructions and giving directions. Both are not the same. Giving instructions means the instructions which you gave to make tasks simpler, and when you want someone to do something, you give them instructions as to how to do the work. Now, what are the uses of giving instructions? First of all, it makes tasks simpler. That means you can do the work. If you follow the instruction, you can do the work easily. So it makes work simpler. You can do it without any confusion. It ensures things are done effectively. That means there are no errors or mistakes, and the result or the output of the work is always very effective. That means the result is very effective. Now, giving instructions eliminates confusion. That means people who are unaware of doing things, when they listen to these instructions, they can follow the instructions and they need not get confused with it. Fourth advantage of giving instructions is it saves your time. Now we are going to see what are the ways to give instructions and orders. Now you must use the imperative form. So what are imperative forms? Now in English language, you have the affirmative, the imperative, the interrogative, and the exclamatory forms. Now these are the different kinds of sentences which we use in our day-to-day life. Now when we come to the imperative form, now in day-to-day life, you give instructions or orders, or you make requests. So when you are giving instructions, you use the imperative form. That means you are addressing the person in front of you. You say the verb. Now this kind of verb is in the imperative form. So be quiet, go there, come here, let's go now, please listen, do this, stop there. All these are imperative forms. Now, in order to, this kind of imperative form sounds a bit authoritative. Now you can use such kinds of expressions when you are speaking to your inferiors. But when we are speaking to strangers or persons who are completely unknown to you, and not only that, in order to soften the order, that means not to make it look authoritative, you use modal verbs such as can, could, will or would or may. Okay, these words make the order or make the instruction polite or soft. So you say, could you make some tea? Instead of saying make some tea, could you make me some tea, or can you do this for me, is a kind of softening the order. Now before that, you can also use an introductory phrase to soften the order. Would you mind waiting for me? I was hoping you could lend me some money. Do you think you could type these letters for me? No. Now then you can sequence words to show steps in the process. That means when you are giving instructions, when there is a series of instructions, you use sequencing words like firstly, secondly, then, next, finally, etc. The next topic we are going to discuss is dialogue building. Now, dialogue building is a conversation between two people. Now, dialogue building is used in creative writing. That means we use creative writing when we are writing a play, when we are making a film or a book. Now, in a film or a play, we use dialogues. Okay, it is a conversation between two people. The scene is already imagined, and what kind of conversation takes place between the two people is written down. That is called dialogue building. So, it is also used in a working environment or private conversations on what to say, how to speak in certain directions, situations. So when we are writing dialogues, we have to keep in mind the following points. Now, dialogue may be formal or informal depending on the situation and relationship between the speaker. Now, when we are writing these dialogues, it should be natural. We should use common expressions such as hello, hi, how are you, etc. We can also use contractions such as I am, I'll, I'd, etc. We use interjections, exclamations. Okay, we can write the dialogues by, we can show interruptions in day-to-day conversations or real conversations. When one is speaking, the other person also sometimes interrupts. So that's why we can also use dialogues which interrupt each other. So when we are writing dialogues, you should stop or avoid using each other's names. So that means when you call the other person by his name or her name for the first time, that is enough. You don't repeat it again and again. Now again you have to keep the dialogue balanced because there should be equal number of exchanges. That means when you are one should not monopolize the conversation. So there must be a question and a reply, or there should be exchange of views, etc. on a balanced way. So a dialogue must also be grammatically correct. Now, I would like to talk about this interview which is prescribed to you, J.R.D. Tata's interview with T.J. Neenan. T.J. Neenan is the Chief Executive Editor of India Today. Now, coming to Jahangir Ratanji Dadabhai Tata, he is known as the grand old man of Indian industry. Now, the Tata group of companies is one of the biggest companies, largest company in the country, and it is an internationally reputed organization. Now, before independence also, the Tata group of companies were great industrialists. They established large-scale industries in India, and they have become the backbone of Indian economy. Now, coming to J.R.D. Tata, who is referred to as J.R.D. He is known as the grand old man of Indian industry. Now, when we look at him, he conveys a certain old charm of the olden days. So that is raw in the bustling world of go-getting businessmen. That means now the business world has become very, very competitive in this present scenario. Now, when we look at J.R.D. Tata, he represents the old world and the charm of the old world, which is not very refined, which is raw, which is simple. Now then we can see his uncompromising views on what is good and what is bad in business. Okay, and he also he takes pride in his group's achievement. That sits better on J.R.D. Tata than on any other businessman. That means sits on J.R.D. Tata means J.R.D. Tata is the true representative of, and he is the man behind the achievement of the company. Now, this is an interesting interview between T.J. Neenan and J.R.D. Tata, which expresses his views on the business world, the changes which he had witnessed as a man who was before independence and after independence. Now, the first question he is asked about is the major changes in the Indian business scenario from the time he started his business. That was in 1930s. So he said that before independence, there was no license Raj. That means there was no licensing system or permits or controls. Now, in that system, there were no bribes. The business was reasonably honest. Taxes were reasonable, and there was no inducement to evade taxes. But then came the controlled society. That is, after independence, these parties needed funds for elections. So the licensing Raj system was introduced by Jawaharlal Nehru. Once this license system started, permits were given. There were punitive taxes, which led to tax evasion, black marketing, and corruption. Now the business world is always has become suspect, and the private sector was not trusted, and everything was entrusted on the public sector. And even the public sector, there were no returns. As a result, the economy in a way was not that easy, or it became corrupt. Then he was asked about the Voltas case. Voltas is a company which manufactures air conditioners. Okay, so Tata is of the opinion, JRD Tata is of the opinion that Voltas is a clean company. Because of heavy excise duties, they had to find a way without breaching law. So according to their lawyer's advice, they made certain concession. I mean, they made certain things, or they did certain things which was not ethically tumultuous. Okay, so they had only one option: either liquidation or complete. Okay, either they have to stop or they have to complete. So there was no ethical turpitude in this case. So they did according to the law. Whatever happened was done according to law. So because the sales people are forced to increase the number of sales, they have to face the heavy excise duty. They had to find a way in order to get out of this. Then he is asked about his achievements and whether he was a frustrated man. Now then he says he was a very frustrated man when he was young. When he was an angry young man, they were under the foreign rule, okay, under oppression. So he was angry and frustrated at that time. Now he is an angry old man because of the missed opportunities. So disagreement with Nehru's economic and foreign policy is the next thing which he is asked. Now J.R.D. Tata says that he was rapped on the knuckles for talking about for raising his alarm on the increasing population. Nehru did not listen to him, and he said that population is the backbone of the country for a large country like India. And now we have 350 million population with increasing problems. He was the first to sound the alarm on the growing population. So none from the government of India or any Prime Minister of India sought his advice throughout his career. So even Mrs. Indira Gandhi did not agree with him, or she simply ignored him. Now he is then asked about his impression of Tata, Birla and Reliance Industries. Now J.R.D. Tata sees Birla as a thinking man, a man of vision, and he considers Dhirubhai Ambani as a man with tremendous drive, capability, novelty of ideas. Now, lastly, he is asked about what he likes to do. Now, he says whether his presence has helped the group stay united. He says that he does not see his group breaking. Okay, he is trying his best to keep the group stay united. And Tata is a very big name. And being within the group, every group is independent, has independent CEOs. They work with freedom and independence. But still, being with the Tata group of companies is something which is advantageous. Now he is asked about his the next heir, Ratan Tata, whether he considers Ratan Tata, what does he think about Ratan Tata? He says that he is no one to appoint Ratan Tata. The board of directors will decide who should be the next heir. He has still not retired, or he is still alive. So that comes after his retirement or his death. So he considers Ratan Tata as a young man with young mind who is introducing new ideas, encouraged his strategic planning, ideas to sponsor new industries were encouraged by J.R.D. Tata. So he considers Ratan Tata as a young man who has novelty of ideas, who is working very hard and bringing success to the company. Now these are the important lessons which you have to cover in the fourth unit, that is giving instructions and directions, and then dialogue building and J.R.D. Tata. Now in J.R.D. Tata you have to prepare for Tata's opinion on licensing system, about the Voltas case, and about what you call Ratan Tata, and what are his experiences with Nehru and Srimati Indira Gandhi. I wish you all the best. Thank you very much.